Yes, ladies and gentlemen, has Friday night come to a Monday? What is this? A familiar lineup from the end of the week, but we're starting the week this week, and there's no Monday club at the moment, and it's a free night. So yes, this is our preview show for the big one on Friday. Yes, it is all eyes on Munich, everyone, as Euro 2024 kicks off. And Scotland, of course, will be kicking off the tournament. No mean feat. We've got Germany, the host nation. So tonight, I'm joined by my usual Friday night team to go over it, to look forward to it, to preview the big game. We'll obviously be looking at the predicted lineups at the moment, now that the squads are all finalised. We'll be asking, do Scotland have any chance? Where can they target? Is there anywhere we can exploit? What's our best weapon? Is there a secret weapon in that Scotland squad? We'll be looking at all that. We'll also be talking again about the Celtic boys involved. What can they do in this game? Because I think a couple of them are definitely going to be starting. And I've got a whole load of facts and trivia as well about our opponents. Not that you need to know much about Germany, but I've done a wee fact file on them to just let us know exactly what we're up against here. And oh boy, makes for scary reading. But we'll get to that all in due course. But I'm joined indeed by the Friday night team. Liam. It's a Monday night. It's a different setting for us. But how are you feeling, man?
Good. Excited. Love that. It's just great to be in these tournaments again, you know. It's been a long time, you know. So, I keeps going. I'm missing Celtic, so this is the next best thing, you know. Still not as good as Celtic, but I'm looking forward to talking tonight about how we think our Celtic guys are going to play and who we think might be joining Celtic, maybe even for this team, you know. Anyway,
that's true. Yeah, and there might be some players that we spot while we're watching the Euros, where we'll get our scouting hats on and go, maybe Brendan Rodgers is looking at them. But of course we'll find out over the next few weeks. And Michael, you were on a wee while, but you're back, mate. It's not a Friday night though; it's a Monday night. But how are you feeling tonight?
Good, mate. I'm looking forward to it. As you say, it's a bit surreal being on a Monday and not a Friday with the same people, if you know what I mean.
Aye.
I kind of check myself, thinking I'm working in the morning and stuff like that, but no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to Friday. So I'm looking forward to it. Like, a few of my mates are all going to Germany and stuff like that, so this week's going to be a bit rough seeing them all going and me sitting working, but that's what it is, isn't it?
My dad's actually going. My dad's going to Germany with a few of my uncles and all their mates, so they're all heading over. They fly out tonight. They've got some RVs booked. They're going to be driving all over Germany, following the Tartan Army and whatnot. They'll get tickets for any of the games. They're just going to be going to all the fan parks and the beer tents. I'm sure the beer tents will be getting utilised. And fair play. They'll enjoy it. I done the Euros in 2016 when Scotland didn't qualify, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But he's going over this time. So I'm sure he'll have a great time, providing Scotland actually put in some good performances too. Of course, that would help massively. But say we'll get our tangent goes. But before we do that, folks, remember, of course, to do all that good stuff. It may not be necessarily all Celtic themed tonight, but still, the ethos remains the same. Do all that good stuff. Hit that like button. Help us out in the old algorithms. Spread the word of the voice of us far and wide. You know, you can share it on social media. And, of course, get involved in our comment section tonight, like people are already doing. I see a few familiar faces, like Gary Brown is in, Jim Dolan's in, MM's in, all members as well for $1.99 a month. You can also help support the bus in that way. All our content does remain free. We are not on Patreon or behind paywalls or anything like that, but it also just helps the wheels on the bus go round and round. And of course, you can hit that subscribe button. I think we're at 4,700, so 4,600 something now. We're getting close to 4,700. And what else do you do? Oh yeah, you can no, that's it. Like, share, subscribe, and slag the hair as well. So like, share, slag the hair. You can do all that as well. And yes, there's no flumpy marshmallow shirt on tonight like I was wearing on Friday. If you need a reminder what that is, it was this shirt that I was wearing on Friday. So yes, that's all getting wheeled out tonight. But yes, that was an eccentric one to say the least. Smack bang 90s fashion right there. But I picked that up last week and thought I've got to wear that. It's so out there and so mad. I've just got to stick it on. But no, tonight I'm rocking the current Scotland away kit with McGregor on it. Because nice wee blue and purple effort. But no, I really like the away shirt. I think it's the home one's a bit. I mean, it's okay, but Adidas have done that thing like they tried to do with the Celtic kit last season, where they went for something a bit out there, a bit abstract. But this is quite simple. I think the colour scheme is actually quite nice. But we'll get on with it then, guys. So we've done all the good stuff. So we get into talking about the game. Obviously, Euro 2024 kicking off. Scotland, they don't qualify for many tournaments. This is their second one in a row, though. They were at the last Euros 2021, and yes, they qualified for this one. They don't. To say we need to kind of enjoy these because they don't come around too often. But yeah, we can't ask for a much harder start, to say the least. We are, of course, playing Zee Germans in the host country, obviously. It's going to be played in Munich at the Allianz Arena on Friday night. Of course, Scotland have played in an open game of a tournament before. One of the few times they did qualify, of course, France 98. We played the holders at the time, Brazil. Again, no mean feat there. Actually gave a good account of ourselves that night, and I'm hoping to God that Scotland can, at the very least, give a good account of themselves. But what do we know about our opponents? What do I say? It's Germany, absolute powerhouse nation. So yeah, I've got a wee bit of a fact file essentially on Germany, on what we can expect heading into Friday night. So obviously, this is the host nation, Germany. They have hosted the Euros before. 1988 was the last time they hosted the European Championships. This year that the Netherlands won it. You'll remember the Marco van Basten goal in the final, the volley, the cross from deep, and he just met it, booted it pretty much back in the direction it came from, and it went across into the far post. One of the best goals ever scored in A-Cup final, never mind European Championships final. But Germany, to say powerhouse nation in the world of football, they are 4 World Championships and 3 European Championships to their names. They are a country that have produced such names as Franz Beckenbauer, Jurgen Klinsmann, Lothar Matthäus, Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, Rudi Völler, Michael Ballack, Oliver Kahn, Andy Bremer, Paul Breitner, and Philipp Lahm. The domestic league, of course, is the Bundesliga. It is regarded as one of the strongest leagues in Europe and the world. And notable clubs, obviously, from the Bundesliga: Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund, Bayer Leverkusen, RB Leipzig, Wolfsburg, Stuttgart, Mönchengladbach, and a team that I think is in many Celtic fans' hearts, Eintracht Frankfurt. Done bad in recent years. The current reigning champions, of course, are Bayer Leverkusen, who had an absolutely phenomenal season. They didn't lose a single domestic game. They won the Bundesliga and they won the German Cup double. It was actually the first time they'd won the German league. I did not realise it was their first title. But of course, Bayern Munich are the team that are most synonymous with success in Germany. 32 times champions of Germany. 2 of their teams, however, were in European finals this season, which shows the calibre of their league and how strong it is. But both lost. Borussia Dortmund lost the Champions League final to Real Madrid, and Bayer Leverkusen, they could have had a really, really historic season. They lost out shockingly in the Europa League final to Atalanta. And they say Germany have won the European Championships 3 times. They won it in 1972, 1980, and 1996. But they've also lost 3 finals as well, 2 of which have had a long-lasting legacy. 1976, Liam, do you know what goal was scored in the 1976 Euros final that to this day still has a lasting legacy in the world of football?
76.
76. Germany lost the European Championship final to a specific country, but there's a goal that was scored in that game that to this day still has it's still a lasting legacy in the world of football. Antonin Panenka with the penalty kick. Yes, the Gallus penalty kick as he stepped up the winning penalty. I think it's one of the only times Germany have lost a penalty shootout as well. And yeah, he steps up the deciding penalty to win it for Czechoslovakia, and he just chips it down the middle. And to this day, that technique is known as the Panenka. So yeah, that's that one. And also the 1992 final, which they lost to Denmark. The thing that's the lasting legacy for that, it was after that game and after that tournament that the back pass rule was officially brought into play because Denmark absolutely milked it for all it was worth and exploited it. Peter Schmeichel even went on record and said he feels a bit bad about the way they won the Euros that year because they just did that to waste time. When Germany were putting pressure on them, just get passed it back to them, you could pick the ball up. So after the Euro 92 final, where they lost to Denmark, that became a rule. Yeah, they made the back pass rule an official thing, so you can't pass the ball back to a keeper now with any meaning, and the keeper cannot pick it up. Also an indirect free kick. So that's something that came from that one. They were the first ever team, though, to win a tournament on a golden goal. Oliver Bierhoff scored the winner at the Euro 96 final against the Czech Republic at Wembley. The recent record, though, in tournaments, I was saying this to Regan on Friday night, this might give us a bit of hope, guys. This might give us a bit of hope because it's not been the usual German standards. It's not been great since they won the World Cup in 2014. They've had eliminations in both World Cups since then at the group stages, 2018 and 2022. They were knocked out in the groups. Say the last one, I mentioned this on Friday, I was talking to Regan, was the Daisen Maeda Japan team. They knocked them out. They beat them There was a game, I think it was Japan beat Spain as well, which also contributed to Germany going out, and that's the game with the ball that didn't cross the line. It was like minuscule how much of the ball was still in play. Japan put it across the goal, and the guy stuck it into the back post, and that was deemed to go. Of course, in the end, it resulted in Germany going out. And yeah, the record in Euros since the World Cup 2014 is they got to semi-finals in 2016, but in the last Euros 2020 or 2021, they had a pretty meek performance against England in the second round, and they were sent out. They are, however, a team that have a reputation for being slow starters, and they grow into the tournament. So will that work? It's got to say, could we be playing them at a better time? It also turns out as well that their current record in terms of games, just to add to just give us more hope, it's not too good at the moment, because since the start of 2023, they've had a pretty sketchy record because they have been playing just friendlies. As a result, they've dropped to 16th in the world rankings. They've not been playing any competitive games. So the signs are good here. The omens are good, guys. It seems like, we could indeed be getting them at a good time here. But yeah, at the moment, they've the last 13 games since the start of 2023, they've won 5, they've lost 5, and drew 3. So again, are we getting them at the right time? And their current crop of players as well, their top goal scorer internationally is Thomas Muller. He's got 45 goals. He's never scored at a European Championships. Records are there to be broken. Oh no, could that be an omen as well? Could he break his duck against us? And their all-time top goal scorer is Miroslav Klose. He's got 71 goals in 137 games, and he's also the World Cup's all-time top goal scorer as well. And as for their record against us, as you can imagine, it doesn't read too well in Scotland's favour. The last time we did beat them, though, was in a friendly where, Michael, you'll probably remember this, the salmon pink kit from the late 90s. Remember
That's
that one?
Right, yep, Don Hutchison scored.
Don Hutchison scored,
That's
yes.
Right,
beat them 1-0 in April 1999. It was a friendly played in Bremen. But since then, we've had a 1-1 draw at Hampden in a Euro 2004 qualifier, and the 3 games since then we've lost, but it's been narrowly every time, 2-1, 2-1 and 3-2. In terms of meetings against Germany at actual tournaments, we met them at World Cup 1986 and we lost 2-1 there, and we lost them at Euro 92 2-0. Their current manager is 36-year-old Julian Nagelsmann, and of course there is a man who does link both countries because he's managed both of them. Bertie Votes, or Bertie Mick Votes, as he wanted to be called, when he got unveiled. You remember that press conference? I called me Bertie Mick Votes. It was a grim time to be a Scotland fan. I saw a clip the other day on social media, and it was like we drew with Germany in the qualifiers at that time, and seeing that Fila kit with the pinstripes just brought back so many grim memories of that era of Scotland. I think we also drew with the Faroe Islands about that time, a real terrible time to be a Scotland fan. And but he was there, man. He was Germany's manager when they won the Euros the last time in 1996. So yeah, with all that in mind and looking at all that facts and figures, Michael, we've got a work cut out on Friday night, haven't we?
We have, Phil, but we've been obviously our record's been brilliant in the qualifiers in the Nations League, but I was a bit concerned. I was saying to my mates recently, like, I've been concerned with the friendly form over the last maybe few months. Like, we played Northern Ireland, we beat off Fame, we got hammered in Holland, and even in like the Finland game, Finland game is a bit exceptional. You could tell players were not wanting to get injured, especially with Dykes getting injured last week. It's like literally a week before it, so they're not going to tackle and stuff like that. But I was kind of concerned with it, but obviously all that goes out the window on Friday when the actual tournament starts. If players were fired up for it and stuff like that, so then if you're going to get fired up for a country at a major tournament, then when can you get fired up, really? But no, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I think we've been a brilliant record in the qualifiers. I think we won our first 4, didn't we, in the qualifiers for it?
5. We won 5 out of 5.
That's right, aye. So we're playing well, obviously. We're playing well in the actual competitive games. And I think Steve Clarke's got his point in a system now where the players have been playing with each other for a couple of years now. And he's got that kind of environment that the players have got on with each other. And it's more like a club environment, which he said he's going to try and instill right away when they came in. So I think they've remained, and I don't really particularly rate him as a player himself, but I think Dykes will be a miss.
Aye.
Friday. I think he will. He's just like, individually as a player himself, right? I don't think he's brilliant. I don't think he's particularly really good either, but the way we play, he drags defenders a bit and holds the ball up, and he lets McGinn and McTominay get in behind him. He occupies defenders and allows them to break forward at midfield. McTominay was the top goal scorer in the qualifiers. I think it was about 6 goals. But he was
ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
We scored 2 against Cyprus on the Saturday, and we played Spain on the Tuesday, and he got 2 goals again. So it's like 4 goals in 2 games at one point in the qualifiers. So I have no mistakes just for that. But it's more about defensively and finding reliance. I'd love to think otherwise. I think we'll create chances, this and that, but we might need nick one for a set piece or something. That's probably our best chance. And then obviously we'll try and prioritise winning other games. But no, I'm looking forward to it. I think you can just tell everybody's buzzing for it, running about you and stuff like that. And it's a good atmosphere when we play major tournaments. We just hope we do ourselves justice. You know what I mean? We've got the capability over. We've done well in the qualifiers and stuff like that. So just looking forward to see how we get on.
Definitely, you can feel the buzz coming. I said at the top of the show, it doesn't come around too much, and I know international football can, and there are a lot of fans that just don't bother with it, and that's fair enough. I mean, at the end of the day, if that's their prerogative, then so be it. But for me, I'm delighted that we're there. They don't happen too often. When I first started watching football in the mid-90s, Scotland qualified for Euro 96 and World Cup 98. So it was like, for my start of football fandom, they were doing all right. But then they had that barren period. So it's like when they come along, you may as well try and get into it and get involved, because I felt that in the last Euros, especially after coming out of COVID, to have some sort of football. And after such a grim year, domestically particularly, it was very, very grim. When that first game rolled around against Czech Republic, at first I wasn't really like, whatever, man, I'm still kind of burnt out with the way football's been for the last year. But I can remember on the day of the Czech Republic game, and I was like, oh man, Scotland are actually in a tournament. I've watched so many tournaments in the summer over the years, and my team hasn't been involved. But now suddenly it's like I've got a vested interest, and here they are again. So as you say, hopefully they do themselves some sort of justice. And with what they did in the qualifiers, Liam, they've got every right to go there and just fight. If they make themselves hard to beat first and foremost, and the Steve Clarke, that is his strongest point, is making teams difficult to beat. Brendan Rodgers struggled enough times against Stevie Clarke's Kilmarnock team when he was in his first spell as manager, Liam. You've got to imagine that, it'll be a case of batting down the hatches, keep all your passes very safe on Friday night, don't take any stupid risks and put yourselves in danger. That'll be Stevie Clarke's sort of prerogative, won't it, Liam?
Yeah, I've watched so many Scotland teams over the years. This difficult to beat, absolutely. We always hear that. The amount of times I've housed the odd patience, it's like, difficult to beat, but almost nearly impossible to lose to. We always find a way to fuck it up, and
very true.
It's difficult to beat. I don't want to be difficult to beat because it still means getting fucking beat. Right?
True.
I want to be difficult to beat. I don't want to be beaten. I don't want that. This is where you need a winner's mentality. That's Steve Clarke drives me nuts sometimes, because I don't think he has that. Why do you want to be difficult to beat? Get out there, and I think we've got an opportunity to take this game to Germany. We've got nothing to lose. We've got nothing to lose. We've got a group of players that have all played with each other more or less for about 4 years. That's a full game, right? And, loads of games in between that. They're all starting to develop and mature at club level, each and they're, like the core nucleus of this team. So that's a lot of guys that are like, they're looked at in world football as all good players. So, we've got some stuff. We're nowhere nearly as match for match as like Germany. We've got a lot of pressure. And I don't know what their media is like, but if it's anything like the English media, and imagine European media isn't that far off, they're giving us no chance. And so all the pressure is on Germany right now to get it together and gel. I mean, I imagine their week's been a lot more intense than us. The amount of media, the amount of things like, they have to do and attend to, the amount of people looking for tickets and all that. Be a relief for them to get on the park. But I think we should make it hard for them right from the start and just attack. And, I don't know. I think if Steve Clarke sits back and we look at just being difficult, then it's only a matter of time, because, they've got power forwards, people that can bully and run their defence and all that. And that's where we're weak. So the longer we wait for them to get into it and get up to speed, then we might that momentum we might not be able to stop. So I think we come out, we take all the momentum and we make us, we go out to win.
Yeah, well, you look at the qualifiers. Obviously, the big story was beating Spain in the home game. We roughed them up that night. We gave them a bit of their own medicine, because Spain are one of these, Latin teams that like a bit of shithousery. They always like to feign injury and win free kicks. And I can remember them; they did not like it. Rodri in particular was very vocal after the game about the way Scotland played, about things like feigning injury and just buying free kicks and all that. It's like, well, that's the type of things that happens to Celtic enough times in European competition when they play these types of teams. So you just need to go, because referees, obviously, well, obviously a European referee, I'll be a neutral referee. It's not going to be a German ref, obviously, but European referees are very, very different to British referees in the way that they control the game. They buy all sorts of stuff, any sort of stuff, wee niggly fouls or free kicks. So Scotland are going to need to be street smart, I guess is the best way to call it. A bit of street smarts out there, and clock management will be very, very important. I mean, I talked about when we did Nostalgia the other week, Liam, we talked about Celtic in Europe and how, as a Celtic fan, you're watching the clock when we're playing an away game in Europe, and you mentally start dividing the game into 10 minutes. I know that I did that in the last Euros when we played England at Wembley, and it was like, right, when we got through the first 10 minutes, it was like, I'm sure like Mason Mount or somebody put one by the post and John Stones hit the post. And like the first 10 minutes, I can remember that. And it was like, oh God, right, we've got through the first 10. Okay, then it gets to 20. If you start me a mental note, and I can imagine the same will be, it'll be like that on Friday night. It'll be like, you'll just want to get through these wee 10-minute blocks every time and just try and manage the game as well as you can. Because, there is going to come a point, or there's going to be many points where we'll have to batten down the hatches, because the pressure, you said it, Liam, is all on them. It's all on Germany. Their media will be putting pressure on. I know the English media are really bad for putting pressure on their guys, but the difference is Germany have got the receipts. They have got the trophies to back it up. It is justified for the German media to have an arrogance and believe that they should, one, just brush aside a little Scotland and obviously go on and win the tournament on home soil. I mean, that brings its own pressures, being the host nation. And it's not like when Russia held the 2018 World Cup, where the host nation, they do get a wee boost from it, but ultimately they're not one of the powerhouse teams, but Germany are. So the pressure on them is going to be huge. And Scotland can just get in about them on Friday night, just ruffle some feathers, and just upset them a wee bit. We saw what happened to Spain when we played them. And I felt Scotland gave a good account of themselves in the second leg against Spain. And if it wasn't for a ridiculous VAR decision on Scott McTominay's free kick, things could have been very, very different that night. I've said to Regan on Friday, that's still one of the worst VAR decisions I've seen in the last 18 months or so, because we've talked about VAR endlessly on the Boise bus, or the things that have happened to Celtic domestically, but that one in the Scotland game and the McTominay free kick, especially, Michael, if you remember, they changed it, didn't they? Midway through the second half, originally with the decision, they said it was a foul on the goalkeeper, which, as Regan pointed out on Friday, the goalkeeper never even reacted at all. It wasn't like the goalkeeper claimed it. None of the defenders did. They go back to the centre circle waiting to kick off. They've just accepted, we've conceded a goal, let's get on with it. And I'm sure the VAR decision at the time was, it's a free kick. And then about 20 minutes later in the half, it came up, actually, we've changed it. It was actually offside. And that's the thing that I worry about. VAR always concerns me, but I just think that officials in particular, especially at these tournaments, when you've got a real big team like Germany, who are the host nations, and you're going up against them, it's like, are we going to be allowed to even get anything in this one, Michael? Am I being too paranoid? Are we going to is that going to happen to us again? Are we going to score a goal and then there'll be some ridiculous VAR decision that costs us or something? Is it a thing to be worried about, or is it just a case of we just go for it and just see what happens?
Oh, you would hope not, but to be honest, but it tends to go to the big decisions and the big tournaments tend to go to the bigger nations, don't they? I mean, remember we played Italy in 2007 to qualify for Euro 2008.
Yep.
And the free kick we get given away against us was a foul. I can't remember who the player was.
Alan Hutton.
Rafael and Alan Hutton, and they scored to the free kick.
Yep.
Stuff like that. So I don't know. I just try and keep it tight and everything that we said, and try and get something for set piece. And as Liam said, don't do it stupid. Don't give the referee anything about any contentious decisions to go off of. So I think I've always got to be aware of it, but I don't think the players can be. If the players get that in the back of their mind, then I don't know, it's too easily distracted. But as fans, you can be concerned about it, but I don't think Steve Clarke and the players can be. Just got to be street smart and not give away daft fouls and stuff, and give the referee something to think about. It's something to make a decision on. So it's all that the players and obviously the coaching staff and everything, but as you said, Phil, it is, as fans, it's always a concern in the back of your mind.
Yeah, well, you bringing up that Italy one reminds me. It was there was a documentary on BBC around about 2017, a wee 4-part one they did called Scotland's Game, which was obviously about, right. And there was one episode they devoted to the Scottish national team, and they talked about that campaign. And Alex McLeish, who was the manager for that game, he comes up on it and talks about the night before the game, he got a phone call from an Italian journalist for an interview, a phone interview. And so he was like, right, okay, so he obviously entertained her and answered her questions. But one of the questions that she asked, and I don't know, and McLeish said at the time he felt it was a loaded question. It could be down to just broken English, whatnot. But she says, Mr. McLeish, do you think UEFA will allow a tournament without France and Italy? Because obviously France were the ones that were going to miss out had we got the result against Italy. So which McLeish was like, I don't know what I answered. So when the way it was worded, it does make you think, UEFA want all the big nations to do well. They want all the best teams to go through. So it's like, when I've heard things like that, I'm just like, I don't know, man. Are they going to allow us to get a result here? I could just see the headlines. We're on the cusp of like getting something out of the game, and then some ridiculous decision goes against us, a penalty or some nonsense. With VAR in play, you just we're up against it, as we've seen plenty of times in the last 18 months domestically. But let's talk about the potential lineups. Because I put together a wee graphic. We're going up in the world here on the Boise Bus. This is what your 199 buys. It's not really, to be fair. It was actually a free thing on but I've done a wee graphic of predicted lineups, because obviously we know the finalised squads now. And at the moment, there seems to be no injury problems with Scotland, although Shankland and Robertson both were taken out of training today, but apparently it was just precautionary and they are okay. So they're as it stands right now, they're going to make the game. But I've also looked at Germany's recent games and who they've called up. And this is a sort of rough idea of how I think both teams are going to line up. So, obviously, on the right-hand side, I've went for Scotland. It'll be a 5-back formation. I cannot see any other option other than 5 at the back. So, Gunn will be in goal. I think it's 3 centre-backs. He'll play Tierney in there because that's what that's the only way he can accommodate Robertson and Tierney in the same team. I think he'll give Jack Henry and Porteous the nod. He seems to like Porteous, and Jack Henry seems to be a regular as well. The only one that might come in there might be Grant Hanley. I have my doubts on that one because he is very, very slow. Tony Ralston playing at right back, I think that's nailed on. Robertson's obviously the captain. I think he'll take the left wing back position. The midfield 3 sitting in front of the back line, McGregor, McTominay, McGinn. I think Christie will get that sort of attacking mid-3 role because he's got endless amounts of energy and he'll just run from the left side to the right side. And he can, and I'm going to say Shankland gets the nod up front. I think the fact Shankland played the 2 friendlies is Steve Clarke getting him ready for to start. Because right now, obviously, our striker options are pretty limited. You're right to highlight the Lyndon Dykes thing. I think he would have been nailed on, and he works well in Steve Clarke's Scotland team, but I think Shankland will get the nod. And as for Germany, looking at what they've lined up with recently and who they've picked, I've gone Neuer in goal, but they could easily pick Ter Stegen, Barcelona's goalkeeper. You can have Bayern Munich's keeper or Barcelona's keeper. Take your pick. Joshua Kimmich at right back, Rudiger and Tah at centre back, David Raum playing left back. Their captain's Ilkay Gundogan, so he's going to play. Tony Kroos, this is a big swan song. Florian Wirtz, who obviously had a storming season with Bayer Leverkusen, Leroy Sané on the left wing, Jamal Musiala on the right, and Kai Havertz as their centre forward. Plenty of names there to put a bit of fear into this. But in terms of Scotland, I think there's one guy I want to home in on first, Liam. And I think it's a guy that I think we really need to give the credit to here, because I've talked obviously in recent shows about the James Forrest redemption arc, but let's talk about Tony Ralston, Anthony Ralston's redemption arc, because where he was in his career just a few years ago, and particularly in that COVID season, but before the COVID season, he obviously broke into the team, had a few games, and he had and it's not really his fault, but he was put in a position on a Champions League night against Paris Saint-Germain where Neymar just destroyed him. And obviously there's the infamous picture of Liam where he's laughing in Neymar's face while we were 4-0 down, I believe, at that point. But I think Neymar had just got booked for diving, and obviously the cameraman's caught it perfectly with the laugh right in his face. And people use that for years to come and say it's not really the boy's fault. He's just been laughing at him at the time. But yeah, we were losing heavily. But he kind of obviously dropped at the team. Then he had loan spells. I get Dundee United, St Johnstone. The reports coming back for them was he wasn't really cutting it there. But he was still lingering around at Celtic, and I can remember I mean, everything was bad in the COVID season, but it was 2 games that we played after Dubai. And I can remember the reaction when people realised that Tony Ralston was still a Celtic player. Like that, we had to field like a scrub team against, was it Livingston or Hibs, whatever, or maybe it was both of them, because so many players were out with having tested positive for COVID or as a precautionary thing, having to isolate. I can remember him in particular getting real vitriol online. Like people could not believe that Tony Ralston was even still a Celtic player. We get to the end of that season, Ange comes in. One of the first things that gets announced is Tony Ralston signed a 1-year contract extension, which again, lots of vitriol. People are like, what is this all about? So, and then you look what happened under Ange, how he got himself, he became a sort of like a solid enough squad player. You can rely on him to the point where sometimes he was better than an option Juranovic. It's continued on under Brendan this past season, where there have been times where you've looked at it and went, he's a better option than Johnston at times. He actually puts in a better cross at times as well. Sometimes, depending on who they're playing against, can be a better option. And here we are now. We're talking about, I say, James Forrest getting himself back at Scotland. But Tony Ralston, if you could have said to him 3 years ago, I say the peak of that COVID season, like in the middle of it, where he was getting all sorts of unnecessary abuse, it's like, see in a few years' time, you'll likely to be starting for Scotland at the European Championships against Germany, the host nation, in the first game. I don't think you'd be able to believe it, but you've got to say fair play to Tony Ralston, Liam.
I've always been a big admirer of Tony Ralston in this bus. I think he's unfairly maligned in their support. I mean, the way people judge Tony Ralston and judge other players, it's just unbelievable to me. I think Tony Ralston's never let us down. He actually, when we came in that COVID season, he scored a goal or two on those 2 games he came. I think he scored in the first game he played. And he was playing with a really, really bad side there as well, but he came on with a lot of maturity. The game against Neymar at PSG, well, that one came out of nowhere. It wasn't like we were hearing all this great stuff about Tony Ralston and training. And there was always a talk at that time that was Rodgers trying to show the board lack of depth or something that we had in the team. And I think he was unfairly thrown into the world, to the Wolves. And I thought, he was immature. He's a young boy with, screaming in the face of Neymar. But he was up against a grade A prick on that night as well. And where a guy was just doing everything he could to try and embarrass him. And I don't think he was embarrassed. I was more embarrassed for Neymar flipping and flopping around and just, acting like a total unprofessional prick in the night. So anytime I've seen Ralston come into the team, I think he delivers well. I thought he looked good for Scotland. I thought he looked good coming and charging down the wing. I think once he builds up an understanding with McTominay, Ryan Christie maybe coming in for the deep balls. I mean, Ralston will give you an overlap. He'll give you an overlap and he cut it to the byline. Ralston can pick out a ball. We've seen him pick out guys like Kyogo and stuff before. Yeah. I think it's just about confidence. If he gets 3 games for Scotland as well, we'll never see Alistair Johnson again. Because he's a much better player. He knows how to mark a guy running inside the channels rather than just trying to push him out. But Johnson's really weak in that. Tony Ralston, he looks to me like he's very good in the air. He's got power. Tony's a tank. He can take a knock and keep going. He's got desire and strength and speed. Yeah. That ball that he won against Hibs, it was 60-40 in the other guy's favour, and he won it, and that helped change the game for us. Showing up in a far left post to win a game against St Johnstone. Tony Ralston's got everything in his game right now to come out of this team being a surprise player. And I don't know, he might not be as well liked as the rest of the boys in the team, but you played in some football teams and guys that are really mouthy get all the games and talk a good game. Seems like a quiet, honest professional, just gets his head down and gets stuck in. We call him a brickie, but you know what? I hope he's a brick wall against Germany, in this tournament. I'm so happy for him. I want to just see him do that's even more than Greg Forrest. I'm so happy to see Tony Ralston get in that team, and I think he'll pay it off by putting in good performances.
He's. I thought in the friendly against Finland the other night, in the second half in particular, I thought the crosses he was putting in were good. And as I say, in my lineup there, I've got him playing because I can't see McCrory getting it. Obviously, Patterson and Hickey have dropped out injured. But again, it's about taking opportunities, Michael, just like he did at club level. An opportunity was presented to him under Ange, and he took it. and he's now established himself as a very solid and reliable player within the club. He's quite happy to be second fiddle, whatever. He can call upon him when he's needed, much like James Forrest has shown this season. But yeah, looking at the options Scotland have got, Ralston for me is the natural choice at right wing back. I know McCrory's been drafted in, but if I'm right in saying McCrory's a centre back by trade and maybe can play at right back. So for me, Scotland are going to need to rely on a lot of width to get forward. We know down the left-hand side how we like to play it. Robertson and Tierney like to do a wee alternating thing during the game where one might go forward, then the other one stays back, and then they swap it around. So on the other side, you're going to need that, because if we just keep going down the left side, Germany are going to figure that out pretty quickly. So you're going to have somebody that can get down the right-hand side and get a decent cross in. And Michael, as goes from saying, Tony Ralston is that guy. So the second goal on Friday night against Finland, he puts in a good cross initially, which just misses everybody, and then it comes out to Robertson, who then sticks the cross in, and Shankland heads into the back post. But yeah, I thought Ralston's delivery on Friday as the game went on got better, and maybe it's what Liam says, it's a confidence thing. So if he goes into this game, starts pretty well, and see, for my predicted lineup, and again, I'm just spitballing essentially on who they've picked, you're likely to see him up against somebody like Leroy Sané. If you can keep him at bay, then that's going to do him wonders. But for me, Michael, it's Ralston all the way to get that natural right fullback going forward.
I think it will be Ralston, Phil. And yeah, you hear Steve Clarke talking him up as well in his press conference recently about the possession football we've been playing this season will benefit Ralston as well. I think he made a big point pointing that out. So it'd be Ralston for me anyway. I think McCrory done all right, but he's playing against Gibraltar the other night, you know what I mean? So wasn't he up against a lot? But I'll back up what Liam said. The only thing, because I like Ralston as a player, I think he's really good. I think his delivery's brilliant. I think his delivery's better than Johnston's, and it's better than Juranovic's. Juranovic is here as well. Juranovic is quite erratic with his crossing. He was just quicker getting up and down the line, so he was tend to be favoured more. But I think Ralston's delivery, his crossing, really, really good. Like you said, he gets stuck in as well. He gives you 110% every game he plays. He's got heart, and he'll get stuck in. I think he's underrated defensively as well. I think it's like Liam was saying. I think like we play Johnson can sleep a lot, cut out sleeping a lot at the back post. Ralston's a lot more switched on, and the only thing I would say, I would disagree with Liam, but I think he can. I don't think he's slow, but he can look kind of ungainly at times, like kind of immobile. He can get caught with the ball in behind. But I think going forward, his crossing is brilliant. He gives you 110%, and he's a good team player as well. So it's definitely going to be Ralston, and I've got no concerns about him, Ralston, starting against Germany, because he gives you 110%. And I think if we're going to get up the park and get into dangerous areas, and his delivery is going to be important. Same as Robertson's on the other side, and Tierney as well. As you said, Phil, seen it numerous times in the qualifying campaign and stuff. But Robertson will kind of sit in, and then Tierney bombs forwards, and they can alternate it. So that'd be an important thing against Germany as well. And we haven't confident Ralston, he'll be more street smart and with the ball in behind and stuff like that. And more defensively switched on to let Sané never think the ball's getting played in behind him. So no, I'm actually glad for him, because I think I'll agree with Liam here. He's kind of much more aligned in our support, isn't he? I don't think he's ever let us down. That's the thing about him.
Yeah,
he's come up with big goals and he's come up with big performances, and so I've got no fears about him on Friday. I think he's more than deserved it, and he's more than capable of playing the Scotland team. So I can't remember for life me who he played, but he scored his debut at Hampden. Remember?
He did. I want to say it was something like Macedonia or something like that. It was one of the types of countries, like countries in the Nations League or something. Was it? It was on a friendly. It was, but he definitely scored. He definitely did.
It was the Nations League campaign for the obviously 2022 World Cup, whatever. But he scored his debut at the back post. So you never know. And he's good in the air. Obviously, we've seen that a few times at Celtic. So I think he's more than earned it, and I'm happy for him. I'm glad to see him get the start, because he's never let Celtic down, is he? When he's played,
no, that's true.
You like to see players that do get stuck in stuff like that, and I think he's more than deserved it. And as Liam said, he's been much maligned by our support a lot of times unfairly. Yeah. So to see a guy like that called up in the squad and get his reward, I think we'll start against Germany on Friday. I think that's a certainty. So it'll be good for him, and I'm more confident in him. I think what that's done Friday.
Yeah, but what I'd say is it's going to, Liam pointed out there, it could do him the world of good getting 3 games. So I say go back a few years to ask if you could tell the boy himself, by the way, in 3 years' time you're going to be playing at the Euros and likely to play all 3 games. Maybe Scotland will have another game after that. Maybe, just maybe they'll get out of the groups. We'll wait and see. But at the moment, it's 3 games guaranteed anyway. So Liam, obviously Scotland don't score many goals. That's obviously one of the big talking points. They rely on set pieces, I guess, and obviously midfield runners like McTominay, McGinn, Christie and whatnot, because they showed it in the qualifiers. So the up front is obviously the big contention point. And I went my line up there for Shankland, because right now the options are Shankland, Che Adams, maybe Lewis Morgan. I guess he can double up some and obviously Tommy Conway, who I thought was definitely unlucky with that header in the last minute against Finland. He nearly won it. It was a great wee glancing header. Goalkeeper got down to his right-hand side and tipped out for a corner. But yeah, I think Stevie Clarke will go for Shankland. Whether that pays off or not, I don't know. But Shankland's going to have his work cut out. But, I mean, Che Adams, again, I think it's just indicative of Scotland, just the way we play. Our strikers don't score loads and loads and loads of goals. But I can remember Che Adams causing Denmark a lot of problems in a recent qualifying campaign. And I would have thought that with the pace he's got, because he's got quite a low centre of gravity, Liam, Che Adams, when I watch him. He's got that ability to hold the ball up, but he isn't tall. But he's also got a bit of pace. But I mean, maybe I've only went for that in my prediction just because Shankland played the 2 friendlies. It might be Che Adams that starts. It might very well be him, but it goes without saying, Liam, I think if Scotland are going to have any chance of getting something, they've got to score first in the game. I think if Scotland fall behind, I don't see a comeback there. If Scotland can get in front and have something to hold on to, then I think they have got a chance. They can dig in and just frustrate them and maybe come away with a point, which would be a phenomenal result. But either way, they have to score first. But whoever gets the nod up front, whether it be Shankland or Adams, they've really got their work out for them, because they're going to have to. It's not just about what they do putting the ball in the net. It's all the hold-up play they're going to have to do that Lyndon Dykes normally brings. So good luck to them, whoever it is that gets the nod, Liam.
You know, I think this is one of these times where we've got to look for something different that we've never had before in a lot of these finals and tournaments that we go into. That's a bit of luck. You know, when was the last time we had a striker come and hit form? You see it in World Cups and Euros all the time. We've seen it with guys like even, Samurais, having a great game with Greek when I think they got back to the semis or something. We need luck. We need a striker that's going to hit form. If I think that's going to be Shankland, he scored a lot of good. We talked about him. We talked about him favourably, about him coming to Celtic because he scores all sorts of different goals. We've seen him score different goals against us at Celtic as well, with a head, with outside of the box, all that. So yeah, I'd love to see him get hot. If it's not him, then Che Adams, Ryan Christie. When you're putting those 2 up in the forward line, I think what you're really doing is you're creating more chances for our midfield to score. And I think that's where the goals will come from. If he starts Che Adams, I think we're looking for the McTominays, McGinns, McGregor, Tierney, Robertson, Tony Nelson, maybe. Yeah. Like you're looking for him coming outside of the box or just creating cutbacks and things like that. And, and maybe that's what they add to the team. Because, I don't watch a lot of English football, so I'm not up as much on you and David and Reagan and that and Connor. But I don't really see Che. I've only seen Che Adams in a Scotland shirt, and I think he's just a different version of Ryan Christie. The two of them are very, very much alike. So I'd rather see Shankland starting up there, hoping that, start him up and maybe he can find a bit of form. But as somebody was saying in the comments, I think it was MN, I noticed up there, it says he looks like he's carrying weight. Yeah. He looks like a big hefty boy, and it's, you've been the rumour of trade talks all year and going to this club and that club. You think you'd want to be in the best optimum physical shape you can, especially knowing that you had a really good chance to represent us with the Euros. So it looks a bit heavy to me, so that might be the only thing that lets him down is his pace and his fitness,
Aye, the game we played against Hearts at the tail end of the season at Celtic Park when I was there, I mean, my dad at one point going, is that Shankland? And I was like, aye, number 9. And he's like, oh, he's throwing a lot of weight, or he's always been carrying a lot of weight. He does look like he's quite hefty, to be fair. But maybe we'll put that weight to good use for the hold-up play, because I say we're going to need that. But Michael, is there anywhere in that Germany squad that, you know, we can target as a weak area? Do you think there's anywhere that we can get a wee bit of luck? Now, I know age doesn't necessarily mean that a player's on the downward spiral. Obviously, Toni Kroos, this is his final sort of swan song. He's retiring. He's just won the Champions League with Real Madrid. But it's expected that he'll be playing. Ilkay Gundogan, he had a good season at Man City last year. This previous season at Barcelona was a bit hit and miss. But he is a captain. He's likely to start. I mean, I mentioned on Friday night, I talked to Leroy Sané, and somebody said, oh no, Sané, as far as I know, Sané's had quite a good season at Bayern Munich. But yeah, in terms of like the back line, you've got Rudiger, who's probably going to play centre back. He's just won the Champions League with Real Madrid. Jonathan Tah has just won the Bundesliga undefeated, the centre back at Bayer Leverkusen. Neuer in goal. I mean, is he? Because I mean, see, when you look at some of the mad eliminations that Germany have had in recent years at tournaments, there was one, I want to say it was the 2018 World Cup, where Neuer ended up like playing in midfield at one point in the game because they were so desperate to get a goal. He does some crazy stuff. He was the original sweeper keeper. I think the term sweeper keeper comes from Manuel Neuer. So he is quite prone to a bit of madness. Maybe Scotland can exploit that. Though just a good ball into the box. Maybe he comes looking for the cross and misses it. But as I said when I put up the lineups, they might even play Ter Stegen in goal. He's Barcelona's keeper. Take your pick. You have Bayern Munich's keeper. You have Barcelona's keeper. Embarrassment of riches there. But is there any way you feel that with the Germany team, there's somebody we can target? Or is it just a case of, just worry what we do, and is it going to just be set pieces and just having a wee bit of luck somewhere at some point in the game?
It sounds mad saying this, but I think midfield is pretty strong. And if you watch Florian Wirtz, you've probably seen him a lot of films he plays with Leverkusen. He's very offensive minded. He's more a number 10 than he is a central midfielder. So he'll be bringing forward a lot. And if you can isolate this sounds stupid how good a player they are, right? But Kroos and Gundogan have got a lot of legs in them. If you're playing McTominay, McGregor, and McGinn in that area, then I think that could be something they could maybe exploit the balls in behind them. And they've got a lot of legs to get back between them, Gundogan and Kroos. So, but again, saying that, how do you talk down Toni Kroos, really? You know what I mean? He's phenomenal, but I don't see many weaknesses overall for him. But I just think we could be dangerous at set pieces and stuff like that. So I would say maybe in the midfield. That's probably the only thing. I would say maybe look deep. If they're left as a 2, Gundogan and Kroos, then if we can bust forward and get McGregor, McGregor will probably sit actually. So McTominay and McGinn tend to break forward, the players and Christie as well. So I think the balls in behind them, Kroos and Gundogan, is something we can maybe work on. But no, I think midfield would be anything, I would say, because they're pretty strong up front and the defence is obviously pretty good. Neuer's still been great the last few years, has he? I don't think he's still obviously an excellent keeper, but I don't think he is what he was 10 years ago or whatever. So,
oh God, yeah.
So I would say maybe the midfield, if anything, really. Yeah.
Well, there's a name there that they comment from your maw, not literally your maw, Liam, but your maw here has said they highlighted Gilmore in amongst there. And obviously my lineup, I didn't have Billy Gilmore in there, but I do think back to the last Euros and how we beat England in that 0-0 draw. Remember, we were celebrating the 0-0 like we'd won it. But in all fairness, we did actually play really well that night, and he in particular was good. Could he maybe find a way into the starting line? Because I had Ryan Christie as the guy that will just be sort of like the free roll behind Shankland, but maybe that could end up being McTominay instead because of his goal threat. And Gilmore actually comes into the midfield and sits because I think even my dad was saying this the other night. He feels like when Gilmore plays in the Scotland midfield, we move the tempo a wee bit faster. And I think about that England game, and I thought on that night in particular, I thought all 4 that started in the midfield, McGregor, McGinn, Gilmore, and did McTominay start that one, or was it Gilmore was in because McTominay was missing? But they did a shift that night, and they kept England at bay. And even though I said earlier on, I mentioned that game, I thought the first 10 minutes England had 2 really good chances, but as the game went on and on, Scotland were unlucky not to win, and they're going to need that. And ball retention is going to be so vital. again, Liam, because, you know, you don't want to play yourself into danger. It's bad enough if a team is capable of just cutting you apart because they're that good, but it doesn't help matters if you literally contribute to them scoring a goal by a misplaced pass. So guys like Gilmore could be an X factor for Stevie Clarke on Friday night. He could throw him in there, and he might be something that, you know, gives us a real advantage.
Well, if you look at Billy Gilmore's background and how he got to the Scotland squad through his playing career, I mean, when he was with Rangers, he was really highly thought of. And then when he went into Chelsea, all of a sudden he blew up. And, you know, we were all looking at, we've probably, you know, as much as he's playing with Chelsea, we've got another good Scotland player on our hands here. I thought he did really, really well when he first broke into the game. And then he sort of fell off. And I don't know if that was maybe he never matured physically the way he should have. Might have been a confidence thing, or just might have been things with the coaches and all that. But he seems like a valued member of this squad. He seems like he's one of the leaders on it, and you could see that on the park when we played against England. I think he's a much better football player than Ryan Christie. You know, Ryan Christie might get you a goal, but it'll be a scramble and stuff like that. But he's bound to miss about 3 steps. Well, Ryan Christie, he's still hearing the Neil Lennon shoot on sight voice in the back of his head, because I seen him doing that against Finland as well, where there was much better opportunities where he was trying to blast it through 4 players. You know, like he's fit, he runs a lot, he'll press and all that. Is he a football player? Nah, he's like, you know, he's like a whippet on the, you know, it's like a dug on the park at times. You know, chasing the ball. I'd rather much see Billy Gilmore there and like be a football nation again. You know, we don't need to be, again, this difficult to beat guys just running into the ground. I don't want to see them in my highlights reel. I want to see guys being able to take one chance and absolutely bury it with absolutely no remorse, no compassion, just bang, you know, lethal. Guys that are sinister in front of the net and just get the job done. I'm hoping Billy Gilmore might be able to transition to that type of player. For a guy that's had that much hype, here's an opportunity. Here's an opportunity to show Scotland and the world how good a player you are. That Chelsea made a mistake, that fucking Norwich, wherever he is now, you know, show up. Shows you were that world-class player that everybody thought you were when you were doing at Chelsea. You know, this is a brilliant opportunity for that. I think this team will do well if it gels together. Steve Clarke keeps talking about the teamwork and all that in this team. And if you can get a group of players that all believe they're playing with the best players on the park at the best time, playing the best football, doesn't matter who you're playing against. If it's there just for a holiday and all for the boys, okay, you know, here's 10 minutes to you and that, so and so gets a game and everybody's happy. Well, might just watching Serbia or something play, you know, bothering with Scotland at all. But I'm hoping it's the right team, and I hope this team's got the Steve Clarke's right, that what he's saying about the mentality and the teamwork within this squad, that it's a core group of players that want to win. I don't want to see everybody getting a game. I want to just see the best footballers, you know.
Yeah. Well, Mark Rose came in with the comment of the night. He's got the tactics sussed. Liam, you're going to love this. Mark Rose says best plan is to confuse the hell out of them. Put Greg Taylor up front. I'm right. I hear Greg Taylor's there, Liam, just because he's good for morale. He's good in the dressing room, mate. But he is there. I think he will get on the park at some point during the tournament. I do think he will, because if Robertson or Tierney are puffed out and they need to come off, then yeah, it's a case of Taylor's going to get on at some point. Oh boy, that could be interesting. But we're getting up to just after 50 minutes now, so let's do the dreaded predictions. Let's do it then. Let's put our necks on the line then, guys. So, Michael, how do you think it's going to go on Friday night?
Like I said, Phil, I think the best. I'd love to say have Liam's kind of confidence and say we should just go for it, stuff like that, but I don't think that's the way the game's going to work out. As long as we keep it tight for the first half an hour and go on in the game, then we're more capable of nicking a goal, especially for midfield players. And what I was going to point out as well, you were saying, Phil, about Gilmore playing, I think McGregor plays a lot better with Gilmore as well. And he plays him. And like I said, Steve Clarke's tend to play John McGinn just behind the striker a lot, the qualifying game stuff like that. So that'll always seem to play further forward as well. So I don't know. I fancy it's for a draw, actually. I'd love to say I fancy it's for a win, but I don't know. I just can't see it. I think if we draw an opening game, then obviously we've got to play for the next 2 games. But I would go 1-1, and I think McTominay for a set piece or a ball breaking for edge of the box, and I'll just get into the box and then do something. But I love to share Liam's enthusiasm, but I just don't see it. To be honest, I can see a draw, though. I can see us going for a draw, but I think a draw would be the best one. I think the most realistic chance we've got, really.
Yeah, I would agree that I think the best chance that Scotland have got of coming away with something, which would be a phenomenal result, because this game is the proverbial free hit. This is the one that when you're a team of Scotland's level, this is the game you dream of, and it's the first game. It's not the last game. It's not come down to game number 3, and we've got to get a result. We're getting the free hit out the way first. All the pressure's on Germany. To say nobody expects Scotland to get anything, so the best chance Scotland have got is, I would say, a draw, which I would be delighted with, because then it sets us up nicely for the Switzerland and the Hungary games, because the dynamic in this tournament is, since they moved to 24 teams, they've got a really convoluted system where 4 of the best third-place teams out of the 6 groups will go through. 3 points might be enough to get you through. Portugal did it in 2016 and won the whole body tournament. They drew 3 games and they ended up going on all the way. So 3 points could get you through, depending on goal difference. But 4 points would definitely get you through. So if you can get a point on the board right away against Germany, sets you up nicely with the Switzerland and the Hungary games still to come, which I think, given what we did in the qualifying campaign, I would say, looking at Switzerland, I don't think they're much better or worse than Norway, who we beat in Oslo. And then by the time we played them in the last game, it was a dead rubber, effectively. Anyway, we'd already qualified, but ended 3 each. So I think Switzerland are a team of that level. So I think we can compete with them, and Hungary as well. So yeah, if we get that, we can get something on the board here. So I will just say, I'll go with you and say that we will get a draw here. I'll go for a draw as well. Just there might as well be some sort of positivity and sit here and go, oh, we're going to get tanked, So no, we'll go for it. We'll just say we'll go for a draw. Let's see what happens. What have we got to lose? What's the worst that could happen? The famous last words. Liam, what do you think's going to happen then? How's it going to go? Wise man.
2-0 Scotland.
Oh, he's going for it. Yes. I love it.
Ralston's going to end up at Borussia Dortmund next year. He's going to have a stormer against him. It'll be a bid match between Bayern Munich and Leverkusen to sign up Ralston next year. Ralston and Frimpong going side to side. Be brilliant.
Oh my God! Could you imagine it? The absolute scenes. Oh geez, so Liam's going for the win. Go on, Liam, good on you, man. Before we also go, I'll just quickly do this for you as well, because I did this on Friday night with Regan. So who are you picking to win the tournament? Who's going to be the top goal scorer, and who's the dark horse team that nobody's talking about that's going to surprise a few people? So, Michael, who you got down to win the tournament, top goal scorer, and your dark horse team?
I couldn't see past France, to be honest. I'd love to see Italy win it, but I've got a great squad as they had in the last Euro. So, I think France will win it. I just couldn't see past Mbappe and players like that. But just as long as it's not England, basically, because. Like, I know it's an old cliche, but
I know.
The way they're starting already, and the way they're getting on about it, well, here we go. But I'm actually concerned about them, some of the players they've got again. But I think Jude Bellingham's obviously come into his own the last couple of years.
He's on a different planet right now. That boy is exceptional.
So that's a concern. I don't know. I just can't see past France. They've got experience in that as well, and they've got somebody in Mbappe who's frightening, to be honest. So, top scorer. I think it's going to be Mbappe again, to be honest with you. I think there's a lot of teams that can cope with him, the ball behind and his movement and his pace. So, I think I see France winning it. Again, cliche as it sounds, right? But I don't care. As long as it's not England, that's what I'm worrying about, really.
On Friday, I'd said to Regan that I acknowledge that England have got a phenomenal chance when you look at their midfield and their forwards in particular, but their defence and their goalkeeper and maybe their managers what's going to let them down. Because look at it right now, you've got Declan Rice, Bukayo Saka, Phil Foden, Jude Bellingham, the boy at Chelsea, Cole Palmer, and Harry Kane is an unbelievable goal scorer. So you look at their midfield and their forwards and you're like, my God, they're unbelievable. But yeah, defensively, they've still got problems. Jordan Pickford is not a great goalkeeper. He's not. And Gareth Southgate's such a conservative-minded manager, the way he plays. So that's probably what's going to let England down. But on paper, England should be in and around it, as hard as it is for a Scotsman to say. But you've sometimes just got to acknowledge that they've got a good team. But I did say, I went for France in the end because I felt like you the same. I was kind of like, that's a bit cliche, it's a bit of a lazy pick. I'd love Italy as well. I've got a thing for Italian football. I've said loads of times I would love it. I mean, I loved it when they won it in the last Euros. Phenomenal. So I'd love to see Italy do it. I'd said actually top goal scorer would be Harry Kane, because England do get a lot of penalties in games, I find. And Harry Kane does literally play for penalties at times, try to win them. So I would be surprised if he does that. And I had my dark horse down as a team that I think nobody's talking about, but you look at their team, they're unbelievable. Portugal. The thing that might go against Portugal, though, is Cristiano Ronaldo and his "it's all about me" mentality. But if you actually take him out that team and look at what Portugal have got, they are a terrifyingly good team. But if they can control Ronaldo's ego, I think they're a team that, you need to look out for, because nobody's really talking about Portugal at all. What about you, Liam? What are you saying for the winner, the top goal scorer, and the dark horse team?
I think Holland.
Talking
about, I think Holland. I watched Holland play against Canada and absolutely destroyed them. And by the way, maybe not the top goal scorer, but I think the standout player of this Euros, I said it on the bus in our private chat, Jeremy Frimpong. Frimpong absolutely destroy Alphonso Davies, the Bayern Munich.
I saw the goal. He absolutely roasted him in pace, and Davies is fast. Davies is a really fast player.
He roasted him the entire game. Davies is one of the fastest players I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Frimpong, he could not get near Jeremy Frimpong. And just the confidence and everything within that group of players, that looks like a Dutch team that all actually like playing with each other. The same truck ones that you usually get this time of year. So you'll see how, as long as they don't fall out with each other in the camp, tends to happen, they'll be. I would have them to win it as being like the dark horse, the outsider. As far as the top goal scorer, yeah, it's got to be Greg Taylor. That's it.
Yes. Come on. Greg Taylor going to lead Scotland to glory, win that golden boot as well. He's going to do it really well, doing it for the bench as well. Well, what a talent. But yeah, that's us. We'll head off now. That's us done an hour. So the plan, it's going to be a busy, busy week on the bus, because despite it being pre-season, you'd think, the content must be dry. But no, I was talking to Russell the other day. It seems like we're going to have a show every single night this week. So obviously we started tonight with our Boys on Tour, Scotland-Germany preview. Tomorrow night will be a Tuesday ticket. The new slot that David Logue is taking over, moving his Sunday blarer. The dignified blarer is now the dignified Tuesday ticket anyway, so I'll be on him with that, and Regan will probably join us there. Wednesday there's a new show starting, and this guy to that side, I got it right first time as well. He is going to be on with Russell. Look out for that. I will not reveal any more details just now, but there is a new series beginning on Wednesday, and it'll be Liam be on with Russell. Thursday night, I believe it'll be Russell and Mark will be on there, and then Friday night, an episode of PMP, a Scotland PMP. Is going to be post-match pish, and I hope to God it's not too much pish. I hope Scotland give us something to talk about. But yeah, we will come on after the Scotland-Germany game to do a PMP for the Euros, the first of 3 PMPs. But yeah, so it's a busy week on the bus, guys. So of course you want to keep on top of all that, then hit that subscribe button and hit the bell notification to be reminded when we are on the road. Well, that's said and done, guys. Monday night, different setting for us, but you enjoyed yourselves?
I've loved it. Really good. It's just, like I said, it's a strange experience, but on a Monday in the same faces. It's surreal. No, I really enjoyed it. It's good chat again. I'm looking forward to Friday now.
Yeah,
so
bring it on.
Get a result.
Yeah, let's give us something to cheer Scotland, please, because God, doing PMP on a loss is always tough. But as I said, it's a free hit, so whatever happens, happens. Right, we're out here, folks. Enjoy the rest of your night, and tune in tomorrow. The Tuesday ticket will be on, and we will catch you then. See you, folks.
Cheerio.